Is Doom 2099 worth the keys? That's the question on everyone's mind right now, because let's face it, when we look at this week's Spotlight catch, it's terrible. Daken and Mick are basically very poor secondary options. In fact, Mick is detrimental in some instances. Alright, when you try to fit him into a discard deck that runs Scron, it's bad. Okay, so well, I'm quite happy that I got my Doom 2099 on second try. I do not have Mick. My first key landed on Mick and second was on Doom 2099. I'm okay with the results. Of course, the best result is getting Doom 2099 on first key, but hey, I'm okay. At least I got a new card out of it as well. Okay, and why I think Doom 2099 is worth the keys, is worth king for if you have the resources, right? Is because he's so interesting in terms of deck building. He is a very interesting card in terms of deck building. Looking at Alex Koch's video, you already see 3 different decks. Alright, he has your Ram Doomers, Warp Doomers, and Pure Doomers. Okay, so that's really 3 decks that you can play around with Doom 2099. With Doom 2099, looking at his Doom board is an ongoing effect, and so naturally we'll stray towards the direction of ongoing shells. And even then, it will already spawn certain variations. Some people opt for Onslaught, some people will prefer Spectrum. Okay, because there's the other 6 cost slot is filled with Dr. Doom. Okay, so to me it's very interesting in terms of deck building. And other than the ongoing shell, my alliance member have actually shared interesting high evo build. Okay, so basically you play high evo but you put in Doom 2099, and it kind of makes sense because high evo decks typically only play 1 card per turn. Okay, and you're okay if let's say you have extra additional energy to play more cards, but you choose to play only 1 card because your Sunspot might be able to soak it up, your Misty Knight might be able to do something, your Cyclops might be able to go off. So in that sense, it matches with what Doom 2099 wants to do. So that's another potential way to go, and I believe Doom 2099 will see more different builds along the way. We're going to see a lot of experimentation. I personally feel that it could potentially appear in a value deck as well. Alright, you play strong value cards on 1, 2, 3. You play Doom 2099 on 4, on 5 and 6. You play your big hitters or heavy hitters, just like when we were starting in series 1, series 2. On turn 5, turn 6, we just play the biggest thing that we have. Alright, we play the Gamora getting the hit. We play Hawk on turn 6, stuff like that. The same kind of idea. Not the same cards for sure, but the same kind of idea. You just slam down something big. You get the value out of it. Alright, so it could work that way as well. Of course, the best the best turn 6 move for these decks will always be Dr. Doom. Bring in all the additional powers. But hey, a value deck is something that could potentially work as well. So in terms of deck building, deck construction, I think that this card is very interesting. It opens up a lot of avenues, which is why I believe he is worth the keys. Okay, and for myself, right now I'm playing him with Jean Grey. Now Jean Grey is a card that I really like in terms of character, her character in the comics, in the Marvel universe. Okay, the moment she dropped to series 4, I actually shell out the tokens to get her instantly. I'm a little bit disappointed that Second Dinner gave her a double drop to series 3. Honestly, I don't think that she's a bad card. I honestly think that she's worth her slot as a series 4 card, but hey, that's just me. So the deck that I'm using, I call it Doom Control. I've been having a lot of success in Silver Conquest with it. Yes, it's just Silver Conquest, but well, it has been 5.5 hours since the release, so it takes some time to get a hang of it. And well, in case you are wondering, I'm in Singapore, so the new Spotlight kicks in at 3 AM, so it's not like I've been playing for 5 hours with this deck. Right, but basically I've been having a lot of success in Silver Conquest. I'll move on to Gold Conquest when I have the time and see how it goes. But basically this is the deck. It's a mesh with a few factors. The first being of course the RAM aspect. We want Doom 2099 to be out as soon as possible to add out as many power as possible. If you guys want the maths behind, you can check out my previous video on Doom 2099. But basically we want him out ASAP, and that means Zabu, Psylocke. Alright, so this is our RAM aspect. The second aspect is of course the ongoing aspect. That's why you see this deck being littered with a lot of ongoing. We'll touch on Vision later. Iron Lad is an on review card that hopefully will hit an ongoing card here. Okay, they'll hit an ongoing card, and you know, it adds to the ongoing aspect that will be buffed by Spectrum. Okay, and Rogue is good because I'm expecting to see a fair bit of mirror matchups, and if we manage to rogue their Doom board, you know, and we get an ongoing Rogue, it's going to help us a lot. So this is the second aspect to my deck, which is an ongoing aspect, which will be boosted by Spectrum. The reason why I prefer Spectrum over Onslaught is because I do think that Spectrum gives a little bit of presence across the board, and I think that is something that I would prefer. Okay, I do not deny that Onslaught may give a higher verticality. I mean, if you are playing Iron Man plus Onslaught, that basically, you know, seals the deal. But I think I prefer the power to be spread across in that sense. Okay, and the other aspect is Jean Grey doing the controlling. Okay, at first instinct you may think that, hey, this doesn't really make sense because you're only playing one card per turn, so you'll be trapping yourself with Jean Grey as well. But here's the thing, with Doom 2099 we are spawning bots everywhere, so there can be two scenarios. One, the Doom bot spawns in Jean Grey's lane. In that case, we are getting a free play, and we will be able to move to other lanes much faster, which is a win for us. Second scenario, it spawns into other lanes. Hey, that means we are adding power to other lanes while our opponents are not. That's why I do like having Jean Grey around. I do think that, you know, I'm looking to make this work to see how far this can go. Alright, and the final aspect to this deck is Vision. Now, Vision is not an ongoing card. Vision doesn't seem to have any synergy with any of the cards here. But I do believe that Vision is a good addition to this deck, because Doom 2099 spawning is totally random. So Vision has a very critical role in the sense that Vision is able to sort of detect where the Doom bots will spawn. For example, if we were to play Vision into a lane to fill it up, the Doom 2099 will have no choice but to spawn the Doom bot in another lane, and this is typically good for us because we can decide. Alright, we can sort of detect, we can sort of like remove Doom 2099 so-called downside, the randomness of his effect, to detect, alright, it's going to into one of these lanes. Okay, and then we can plan accordingly for it. The second thing about Vision is that if we were to play Vision into a Jean Grey's lane, we can then move it out later. So we are while our opponents are committing to that Jean Grey's lane, we are not, because we can move our Vision out later. And this is a little trick which some people may not know. If let's say, you know, you fill your Jean Grey's lane with Vision, alright, on turn 6 you can play your cards in other lanes and then move Vision out. Alright, so effectively you do not have to play in the Jean Grey's lane at all. Well, but of course this is not a very big plus if you were to ask me, because, well, on turn 6 our best play is always Dr. Doom, and Dr. Doom fills up at all 3 lanes anyway. But hey, this is just a tip that might prove to be useful. It has proven to be useful for me a few times over the course of playing with this deck. So yeah, as you can see, Doom 2099 has spawned quite a few decks. Alright, you can say that it's variations, but these variations are fairly different. I wouldn't say totally different, but I would say fairly different. Different enough to actually for you to want to tinker around and try them and have a different experience in a sense, right? So in terms of deck building, Doom 2099 is definitely interesting. Strength. Now we move on to the second aspect to any card, the second criteria of any card, which is card strength. Is Doom 2099 a very powerful card? Is he a very strong card? Are his decks insanely strong? The answer is no, which is why I mentioned that if you do not have the resources, if you are low on the resources, if you are not exactly very wealthy in terms of resources, Marvel Snap resources, then you may want to wait and see. Hence my statement of him not being a priority. I don't think Doom 2099 decks are S tier or A tier. I think that they are hovering around B. Okay, of course this can change, alright. This can potentially change because it has not even been 6 hours since his release. Someone may find some wacky deck that totally blows every other deck out of the water. But I do believe that the consensus right now is that Doom 2099 decks are not exactly insanely powerful. Okay, and I believe the inherent problem lies in the fact that you need to draw your cards very smoothly. You need to have it. You need to have your either your turn 1 Zabu, turn 2 Psylocke, and then you draw your Doom, or you didn't draw your Doom depending on Zabu or Psylocke, and then you play on turn 3. Okay, or if you play Zabu, then you want your Doom 2099 to be on your hand. So you see, this is something conflicting, but yet you want to draw it by turn 3. You want to draw it on turn 3. If you have Psylocke, then well, you want to have your Doom 2099s in your hand rather than in your deck where it's affected by Zabu. Okay, so there's a lot of you really need to have a good sequence in terms of your draw, in terms of the cards that you get. Okay, it's going to suck very badly if you draw Doom 2099 and then you didn't draw your Zabu, your Psylocke, and you are playing him on turn 4. Okay, sorry, it doesn't suck, alright. Doom 2099 on turn 4 is still very little, but it won't feel as strong. Okay, because basically you need all your things to form very nicely in place. Alright, if you draw a handful of Doom 2099, Iron Man, Vision, Doctor Doom as your starting hand, then yeah, it's not gonna feel very good. Okay, because you're playing catch up in that sense. So I would say in terms of similarity, it's like playing an Asgard deck. You really need your, you need to play your Thor, you need to play your Beta Ray Bill, you need to play your Jane Foster, pulling out all the hammers and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a combo deck. Okay, but don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's as inconsistent as Asgard decks. It's not. But you still need a good draw. You still need your draws to fall perfectly in place. Okay, even if you draw your Zabu, your Psylocke, you still need to either not draw or draw your Doom 2099 accordingly. Okay, so there is some inherent issues with this deck that is preventing it from being an S tier, A tier kind of deck. So in summary, long story short, I do think that Doctor Doom scores very high in terms of deck building. It's a very interesting card. It's a very exciting card. It's a card that opens up a lot of gateways, if you were to ask me. But in terms of strength, he's not overbearing. I don't think he's even dominating in that sense. Sure, if you manage to get that flow, he throws up a lot of power. But when you don't get that flow, it's a lot leaves to be desired, right? A lot leaves to be desired, and yep, that's basically his issue. There's not much middle ground in that sense. So he's a kind of, alright, he has a very high peak, but he also has a very low floor. So that's his problem at the moment. Alright guys, so if you are looking to you know, spend your spotlight keys on Dr. Doom 2099. I wish you all the best. I hope you do not land on I really hope you do not land on Mick and Bacon. Alright? Good luck.